Hello and welcome. Today we're diving into an absolute classic of children's literature, Philippa Pierce's Tom's Midnight Garden. Now, with some help from Dr. Same Galil's literary analysis, we're going to unpack how this incredibly magical story is actually all about exploring some very real-world truths. Let's get into it.
Right at the heart of this novel, you've got this really powerful contrast. On one hand, there's the world Tom is stuck in, post-war Britain. Dr. Galil describes it as just gray and disillusioned, a place full of rules, regulations, and just plain boredom. But on the other hand, you have the garden, this vibrant, timeless, magical escape that is literally everything Tom's world is not.
So, let's meet our main character, Tom. His brother gets sick and Tom gets shipped off to stay with his aunt and uncle. You can imagine, he's separated from the person he's closest to and he feels totally and completely trapped. He even uses the word exile to describe it, which tells you everything you need to know. For him, this place is a prison.
Okay, so this first section is all about exploring Tom's initial mindset. And you gotta understand, he's not just trapped in some boring apartment. No, he's trapped by this very rigid, very adult way of looking at the world.
This right here really nails the central conflict of the story. You have Tom, this kid who's just bursting with curiosity, asking these huge, amazing questions about how time and reality work. And then you have his uncle Alan, who's totally set in his ways, and he just shuts him down. He offers these cold, rigid, scientific theories that leave no room for wonder. It's what Dr. Galil calls the big generational gap.
So, how in the world does he escape this? Well, when you're a boy trapped in a world that has no room for imagination, the only way out is through a door that shouldn't even exist.
And here's the question that just blows the whole story wide open. Tom is stuck in his very linear, very predictable reality, right? But the house he's staying in holds a secret that's about to completely blur the lines between what's past and what's present.
And this is the moment. It's midnight. The old grandfather clock in the hall suddenly strikes 13 times. And just like that, the boring, concrete yard Tom's been staring at is gone. In its place is this huge, beautiful Victorian garden. It's a place from another time, and it has just broken through into his world.
Now Tom doesn't have to explore this incredible garden all by himself. This is where he meets Hattie, a lonely Victorian girl who is going to become the single most important person in his entire transformation.
But you know, their friendship doesn't just happen overnight. As Dr. Galil points out, it actually starts with a lot of suspicion. I mean, they both think the other one is a ghost. But as they start having these adventures together, that doubt slowly turns into a really deep connection. They become the best of friends, even though they're separated by almost 100 years.
And this quote from Dr. Galil just hits the nail on the head. He argues that Hattie is absolutely everything to this story. She's not just some side character, she's the catalyst for Tom's entire journey. Without her, the Tom we meet at the end of the book he wouldn't exist.
So how exactly does she do all that? Well, Hattie is like a bridge. Through her, Tom gets to actually experience life in a different time. He sees her joys, he sees her struggles, and that's what builds his own sense of empathy. She is the absolute key that unlocks his ability to understand not just the world around him, but himself.
But look, this magical garden isn't just about having fun and playing games. It serves a much, much deeper purpose. And that brings us to the real heart of the novel, its central theme.
This story is a perfect example of what literaries call the fantastic. And that doesn't just mean ghosts or magic. No, it's a genre that uses impossible things, like a garden that appears at midnight, as a kind of lens to help us understand our own reality in a much deeper way.
Dr. Galil points to this incredible quote from the scholar Jack Sipes, and it just perfectly captures the novel's message. Yeah, sure, Uncle Alan's cold, hard reason matters, but it's Tom's journey into fantasy that allows him to actually grow as a person. Imagination isn't an escape from reality, it's a tool for understanding it.
So, as we get near the end of the book, these two completely separate timelines start to converge. You've got Hattie's entire life unfolding in the Victorian era, and then you have Tom's one single summer in the 1950s. And the garden? That's the magical space where their lives cross paths, all leading up to this amazing revelation.
And here it is, the big twist. The world of fantasy and the world of reality just collide. Tom finally meets the mysterious old landlady of the house, Mrs. Bartholomew, and in this absolutely stunning moment, he realizes she is his Hattie, all grown up. The garden, it was her dream of the past, a dream that Tom was somehow able to walk right into.
After he figures this out, Tom is he's not the same kid. He's no longer that grumpy, alienated boy from the beginning. His journey through the garden, through Hattie's memories, has given him this incredible empathy and maturity. He goes back to his own time, as Dr. Galil says, a totally changed person.
So what's the big takeaway here? I think Tom's Midnight Garden shows us that imagination is one of the most powerful tools we have. It's not about running away from the world, it's about understanding it, connecting with people across time and experience, and ultimately learning to accept the hard parts of life, like growing up and growing old.
And that leaves us with this one last, really fascinating thought from Dr. Galil. If the garden was Hattie's memory and her friendship was the key to Tom's growth, was the story ever really about him? Or maybe should the book have been called Hattie's Midnight Garden all along? Definitely something to think about.